On my far right, we have Leo Marland, who is a technical executive from IBM Canada. He is with IBM Global Business Services. His academic background, his bachelor's and doctoral degrees are in theoretical physics. Leo has more than a dozen years of architecture and systems design engagements as a lead information architect for clients in public and private sector, and 28 years of technical and management experience with IBM. He also provides leadership for the technical community at IBM. So, Leo Marland, first, please.
Thanks, Wendy. It's nice to come back second year. Even though I still feel like the odd duck in techie on the panel. Although I'm sure our interpretation of the word technology could be a whole debate there. just as I say that. And there's more technology than information technology. So I thought the theme of the few remarks I wanted to make to you in response to the question that Wendy posed to us all when she asked us to speak on the panel is really agility in your careers, agility in the skills. I don't want to give you a boring future shock kind of testament about the amount of change going on in society. You can see it yourself with the news from the Middle East this past couple of weeks, quite remarkable events there. In my own company, we've had major changes over the last 5 to 10 years with globalization. We've become a very global company. I'm challenged more and more to work with our young technical professionals across the globe. It's very challenging for me. I'm more used to working in person, coaching and mentoring and developing skills, and I've had to adopt different technologies and try things. I don't like them as much as working in person with my team in Toronto. This is what I'm having to adapt. It's the agility and the adaptability that's so important. The other thing that I would mention that I learned far too late in my career is the importance of emotional intelligence. So if you haven't heard that term, a way to summarize it is people skills is absolutely the wrong way to talk about it. It's the ability to recognize and assess and understand your own emotions, and also to read other people, to understand. The word I like for that better is empathy. So this is a particularly big topic for folks like myself who are more science and engineering trained to develop that muscle. It's also from a diversity perspective, you sort of say a male engineer particularly has to work on that aspect. But I like to sum that up in that term emotional intelligence, because it's not just about that reading other people or being able to sell or being outgoing. It's really that kind of controlled emotions. If any of you did karate or yoga, these are the kind of disciplines which help you with that control of emotions. And it's so important in the whether the business world or you're working for the provincial government or the federal government. It's so important that you will have to deal with conflict, and you will have to deal with disappointment, and it sometimes takes people 10 years of a career until they develop this ability. So obviously foundational skills, then agility, and then this emotional intelligence, so that you're good with people, but not in some kind of unfocused sense, but the sense that there's a real discipline to that, and that you work, and that you're genuinely interested in other people and have empathy for other people. The other term that's sometimes used, what do we look for in folks other than their foundational disciplines? We talk about leadership skills. And very often if you decode what's behind leadership skills, it's again that emotional intelligence, that sense of having more awareness outside of yourself about other people. The clues that we look for on resumes are the very obvious ones of, have you done anything other than your obvious progression academically? What have you done in the community? Have you had any interesting achievements, or even if they're failures, do you branch out? Are you willing to take some kind of risk? Those things are very important as well. Again, back to the theme of agility, a bit more close to home in terms of within IBM. Big development over the last couple of years that I think is very relevant for the iSchool, but maybe afterwards you can tell me where the connections are, because I don't know your discipline well enough, or the disciplines well enough within the iSchool to be able to make all the connections for you. But we're really embarking on a very interesting journey with what we call business analytics. So this is the mining of information, understanding information, and really leveraging that information in a much more leveraged, much more powerful way than it's been done before. So tonight on the local PBS station, there's a program about the Watson computer from our research facility. I think it's on at 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. So Nova, if you know that program on PBS. And then we talk about that. And next week there'll be the Jeopardy Challenge, where the Watson computer is going to take on two of the Jeopardy experts. I'm not a great fan of Jeopardy or quiz shows generally, but I think the principle here is not about Jeopardy is, and yes, it's a bit of a marketing stunt for IBM, obviously. But behind that, if any of you know Ray Kurzweil's publications, The Age of Intelligent Machines, this is really, a seminal event, just as it was with Deep Blue, when we had a computer that beat, the grandmaster of chess. Now we've got a computer that is willing to take on a very interesting challenge. You probably all know Jeopardy, but the idea that you're given an answer and you have to infer the question from that answer. The reasoning ability, if we call it that when the computer's doing it, that you have to put into a computer to do that. We actually base that on feeding huge amounts of information, textual information, to Watson, and then having evidence-based algorithms that will assess the potential answers in a probabilistic way. If you watch the actual either the Nova program or the program next week, you'll see, I've seen a simulation, I've seen a run-through, obviously, where someone from an audience at an internal conference got up and played Watson. Watson will actually say the certainty, the probabilistic certainty. And it's got a little bit of the 2001 HAL persona where there's text-to-speech when it actually voices its answer. But to me, that's kind of the trivial aspect of it, really. It's just part of the marketing. So that ability to search information, crawl information, if you watch the Nova program to get the distinction between what's the difference from that and when you put a query into Google, it's a very interesting way to start thinking about what we're doing with information. And the final thing I would say, but I would actually defer to my colleagues here who know this topic much better, is just at lunch today I'm reading a magazine about the publishing industry. And I'm a huge iPad fan, I bought one for the family. I'm very fascinated by what you can do with new media. So obviously, right in the core discipline of the iSchool, there's major challenges happening today in information and the publishing of information in ways that are very disruptive economically. Not my particular thing, but just as a member of society, you can see that. So again, my theme is agility. We look for that in people. We look for their overall qualities, whether we call it leadership or emotional intelligence. Those are the most important things. And the whole theme of business analytics, I think there should be a connection there. If I was one of you marketing yourself to a company like IBM, I'd be talking about that subject, learning about that subject, and making a connection with that.